Welcome to the May 25th episode of Thalmor Radio. I am your host, Thalmor, coming to you live from a mountain valley deep in rural Kentucky. It is Tuesday, not Friday, because it's a bonus show. I was originally not going to do this, but two things happened. Number one, there was some shenanigans with the business world, and a lot of people lost a lot of money. And number two, the war escalated even more by mystery coming in and hitting Hollywood. So I originally wasn't going to do a show, just like an extra show, because of the war, even after Oasis had come in. But it escalated further, and people lost billions of dollars, which is funny. So I thought I would do a thing.
It escalated past Morph's show, which means we can do a show.
Yes, there you go.
Carry on.
Speaking of, I was a guest for most of the. See, Morf Radio also had a bonus show for the war. That was Sunday. That was on May 23rd, and I was a guest on there for most of it. So if you want, which I was quiet for a lot of it, but like I would chime in and say something here and there. So, you know, if you really want more Thalmor content, actually go back and listen to that recording, which a lot of you.
And I'm sure it's really good. It's only 4 hours long.
I think it picks up pretty well. Like we was ready to wrap it up by like 10 o'clock. But it did pick up.
10 o'clock, which is when the second blitz happened.
Yeah, and then that could, and then I thought it would go on further when James came on, but it eventually petered out. But that was funny. So before I talk about politics and war stuff, I want to talk about my own personal war here, and that is the war against my smoke detector in my bedroom. So, you know, there's this game on Steam called This War of Mine, right? And it's about like it's kind of like a strategy game in a way. You control like 3-4 people and you try to survive in this like under siege city, right? And it takes inspiration from like modern day like conflicts like Syria. Some people is able to what word do I want to use? Empathize with it through like the Serbian war, the Bosnian war in the in the 90s. And so, you know, you play as these characters in this besieged city. And, you know, the most deadliest siege in human history was like probably the siege of Leningrad, right? Because like a million, like literally over 1 million civilians died in Leningrad. And like, just like how, like it was cold and there was artillery going off and planes bombing. And honestly, this smoke detector, I'm probably suffering worse because of the smoke detector than the people in Leningrad did. Because like it's dinging, like I'm going around my house and it's dinging. I'm trying to go to sleep and it's dinging. I was going to take the battery out, but it's got all these wires connected to it from the roof, and I don't really want to like mess with it and get electrocuted. So I just let it beep. It was beeping weeks ago. But I let it be because it stopped beeping. Now it's beeping again. And I think I don't hear it. I don't hear it right now. So I think it stopped beeping again as well. So I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I'm probably going to just smash it with a hammer and then die of smoke inhalation like months later. But that's probably what I'm going to do. And so that's where I am with the smoke detector. Replace the batteries. That's what it is. The battery's just low. But that's how it is. And so now I talked about my guest. Okay, I talked about the smoke detector. I talked about my guest appearance on Morf Radio on Sunday. Let me now talk about game stuff. I'm going to open up with one thing. And let's see, where is it? I want to post something in chat here. Give me a minute. Uh-oh. I can't find it. There it is. So on the forums, I think it was in the first thread about the war. Yeah, it was in the declaration of war thread that Hollywood made against Rose. This interaction happened. I made a thing. I said it was cringe what happened. And Akuryo responded and said, I can't believe you guys got me agreeing with Thalmor. And, that wasn't it, though. During the Morf Radio thing, she was tossing bones to me and stuff, interacting with me. And that's based. And I'll tell you why it's based. Because whatever the problem was before, her behavior indicates to me that she's kind of over it now. And I think now the conflict that was between us is probably resolved. And I think that's cool because I don't like enemies. I don't want enemies serious, enemies, right? I'm okay with getting into slap fights with people, but I don't like there to be a genuine hurtful rift. And it seems like maybe that's over, and I think that's cool. So that's how I am. So that's how I stand right now. I thought that was cool. Akuryo now has a different username. It's really complicated, and I can't pronounce it. Zig, do you know how to pronounce it?
Probably. Sakura Al-Sain? Maybe?
That sounded really good. That's probably it.
It really looks like a combination of... Sakura, that's Japanese. And then the Al-Sain, that looks like Arabic. I think. Strange choice.
That's what I was... That's what I was thinking. It looks like a combination of Arabic and Japanese, but it works, I suppose. So that's that. And now I'm going to talk about the war. And before I talk about the war, let me give... I'm stupid, okay? I don't know anything. Anything I know, I only know if it's public. If people are talking about it in public, if it's on the forums, that's when I learn things. I don't have any friends that I regularly talk to who are about politics, who are big decision makers, okay? So that's how I...
Come on now.
I really don't. I have friends I talk to. I have friends who are decision makers. I don't talk to any of them about politics, except little things here and there. I don't know anything about anything. So this is my angle. This is my perspective. And so I was wanting a world with multi-spheres and with a bunch of little blocks because I think that is very conducive to having fun, somewhat frequent wars. And if you were here Friday, I talked about how I liked how politics were going. I thought things looked cool. And I liked the split that was happening between TSTKR because that, it's a decentralization, it's power splitting up. And, I think it's cool about what happened. Oasis and Swamp downsized, formed Mystery. Pretty dope shit, right? And so I really didn't like it come Sunday when Hedge and TKR and friends all formed another block of their own and then immediately hit Rose, which I don't care much about the war. I do make it a point that they declared a war without a CB. That's just because I think fighting a war without a CB in context of everything else kind of looks bad, but I digress. I don't like the political move of the whole sphere forming.
We had a CB.
What's the CB?
We actually had multiple CBs. But we didn't bother posting any of them because it was kind of a waste of time. And also because in the last war, Rose didn't bother posting a CB. So we thought, why bother? It's only fair.
All right, whatever. So as we were going forward here, what ended up happening was that, like, the next turn, Oasis came in and hit Hollywood, and whatever. I think they were very unhappy about this. There was a lot of hemming and hawing about secret treaties. And then what happened yesterday, I believe it was the Mystery came in and hit Hollywood. And there's a lot to talk about. I am of the opinion, I hold multiple opinions on this. Now remember, I'm apolitical. I am not against or for anything in particular. I don't like the news. I don't like Hollywood forming. I also don't particularly like Mystery coming in. I think Mystery coming in does turn it into a dog pile of sorts. Oasis coming in, whatever, but Mystery I don't think had to come in, and I didn't like it. Now, can I tell Mystery not to come in? I don't know if I can, because there's a lot of discussion and a lot of anger. A lot of people are angry. Because the idea coming from Hedge and TKR, and it could be right, I don't think it is, but it could be right, is that Oasis and Mystery came in because they were secret allies through a secret treaty of Rose, and them coming in against Hollywood is just proof of it, and oh my goodness, we're going back into a bipolar world. And I disagree. My idea, now look, maybe logs will come out months from now that shows there is this big alliance between Rose, Mystery, and Oasis. If there is, I will retract. I will report the news. I think if there is these big secret treaties between these blocks, I think that is nonsense. But I don't think that's the case. And until it's proven that it's the case, this is my current position. I don't think they hit Hollywood because, we're all allies with Rose. I think they hit Hollywood because they didn't like what they saw. They didn't like this new sphere being formed. They didn't like this sudden aggression. And considering that it was Hollywood that went on the offensive, I just don't see how they can complain when the rest of the games doesn't like it and uppercut them. And I don't think it's just, it's all the secret allies being mad about it. I'm seeing people in Cindy Sphere be mad about it. On Morf Radio Sunday night, Adam, he's no longer Gov, but he was for a while. Adam came on and was just dunking on Cooper, just dunking on him. And so, it seems like it's from the whole game. Everyone thought that this political move was silly. And I don't think it's secret treaties. I think they didn't like what they saw and they took action. So that's what I currently think. And maybe I'm wrong. Look, I did this with the last Global. I took the position of look at Syndicate and TKR, look at Quack, look at TSTKR being chuckle fucks. But no, they were right. It did appear as if between Swamp, Rose, and Hedge there was this collusion. And I know the counter argument is like, well, that's all that was talked about. But wars happen fall for less, and I found the logs compelling. So that's where I'm from. That's what I think. And maybe that will happen again. Maybe there is all this collusion between Oasis, Mystery, and Rose. But until I see it, I don't believe it's there.
The difference between the last time and this time is that when asked if there was collusion, it was pretty quick. That SRD was like, yeah, there was. At least to some degree. And this one, there is flat denying and excuses being given, which either means they are all liars or there was no collusion. But the interesting thing, I have not seen a adequate answer to the question of why did Rose not militarize? Was it pure incompetence, or were they just that cocky?
I think I saw Kev say this somewhere recently. maybe it was today that was like, wow, it sure is convenient that Rose didn't militarize, almost as if they knew Oasis and Mystery would come in for them. And I find that line of reasoning compelling. I do toss that a bone. That does seem pretty iffy. And I can say this because look, like I said, I'm not a shill for either direction. I don't like Hollywood, but I also don't like a Mystery coming in because it did become a dog pile. And if there is all these secret treaties going on, that is way more a problem to me than Hollywood is. I just want to stress that I am not a shill. I am only a shill for KT, but you all know this already. Outside, and I'm also a shill for any block I'm a part of. KT's politically neutral. So I am neutral. You want a neutral party to give you his thoughts on something, come to me and I will give it. They probably won't be good thoughts. They probably won't be coherent, but you will get something. I love you too, Shota Duck. So that's what
I'm biased. I'm just here to throw stuff around. So the biggest thing is like and I don't want to dunk on Rose, but it's something that's been a big question because there's two possibilities that either they're liars or they're just kind of incompetent. I don't know. I would love to hear Rose. They're never gonna admit that. They're probably never gonna admit that they just messed up and not militarizing. Anyways, I'm ready to move on.
And maybe it is just incompetency. I am a dirty opportunist raider, and I am raiding 3 Rose people right now. And despite the support from Oasis and Mystery, I'm going to beige my 3 Rose guys at like 4 a.m. tonight. Like that's pretty much going to happen. Even though there's 3 of them, even though they got all this support, I'm probably going to steal tens of millions of dollars in cash and resources from these 3 Rose guys. So maybe there's, and I didn't like really Rose's performance either when we fought them a couple months ago. I thought they were kind of beige them, please. You don't have to worry, Epi. I will. Their stuff is not my stuff, or will be. And don't worry, I will be sure to raid Hollywood people too. I almost did earlier, but people stole my slots. So what are you going to do? So I think that's it for my thoughts on the war. Another thing is that like Hollywood went on the offensive, and it's like they seem. And maybe this is wrong. I'm open-minded, but it seems like to me, if you're going to do aggressive action, like you should be prepared for the fallout of that. Because I remember back in like years ago, when during the time period that like TS went paperless and things were so stagnant for a while, like after I guess it was maybe Silent War, like alliances would occasionally do some kind of attack and then would get completely pulverized, and it was like, well, look, you went on the offensive, you should be prepared for the consequences. And so for Hollywood to do this very unpopular political move and then to go on the offensive, like you should be prepared to deal with the consequences. So those are my thoughts. We'll see what happens. We'll see whatever information comes out. Who do I think is going to win? Before Oasis, I bit my tongue. Before Oasis came in, I would have said Hollywood would beat them. Once Oasis came in, probably about even. Now that Mysteries come in, I think now Rose's side. What are the coalitions called now? Hollywood's Hollywood. What are we calling the other side? Rose Sphere, maybe? I don't know. Just for simplicity. Now I think Rose's side will probably win. I'm going to type it in chat because I can't pronounce it. Combining Rose with Oasis like that is kind of cringe to me because I don't believe it's a paper treaty. So acting as if Oasis is this big done deal thing seems a bit cringe. But it is kind of cool though. It rolls off the tongue well and is fun to read. Oasis. Just call it Coalition B. That makes sense. Bollywood. Bollywood. Okay, I can dig that. Bollywood against Hollywood. Okay. Bollywood. All right. Okay, I like Bollywood. Bollywood against Hollywood. And what are we calling the name of the war exactly? I saw Guns N' Roses be thrown around, but I don't know if that's like the name people are deciding is based and cool.
Warthog Run. That's what I'm saying.
What does Halo have to do with it, though?
The war kicked off with Shifty posting Warthog Run, which was a leak. That's where I got it from. No reasons, basically.
Yeah. So I think that's it. Prefontaine, I think one. Oops, I cut out. I think Prefontaine wanted to say something about like Yar's involvement. Am I right, Pre? Because Yar got hit as well. Pre says my mic's not set up. Okay, well I will just repeat from DMs. Well, I'm not really repeating it, but like Pre brought to my attention something that was really funny was that like Yar's getting hit. Yar has such a good reputation that like people are still like people who are fighting against Yar are depositing money into their Yar accounts as they fight Yar, and that is I think is really funny.
Wait, who? Who's depositing money into their Yar account? I don't think that. I thought it was only Grumpy that was fighting Yar, and I'm pretty sure we made sure no one was still banking with you guys. Yeah, 100% secrecy. Yeah. Well, your bank's gotta die. That's what I say. You guys gotta learn the war mechanics. You know what I don't get is when we blitzed, people weren't angry at first. People weren't really angry that we did that about allies or anything like that. First thing they said is, I'm angry that Grumpy is hitting Yar. And I'm like, why? I don't get it. Why would you be mad at that?
Can you imagine simping for a bank? Nothing against Yar. It's just the principle.
Can you imagine getting mad at someone for attacking another person in general in a game? I can't imagine a scenario where I'd be like, "Hey, I can't believe you attacked that person. That makes me angry." Yeah. But I also don't understand why people would bank with Yar and all that stuff. Shut up, Zig. Yeah, you're the exact person I'd love to hear that from.
Prince says violence is always the first resort. Yeah. All right. I think that's it for the war. I will talk about the recent bank business blowing up, whatever. That's what Abigor is coming on for. But besides that, is there anything else I need to talk about politics and war? Any other events that I missed? There are some raiders in Yar, I believe. Yeah. And I don't know if Prefontaine was ever a raider. Well, I think he did some raiding. He's more of a general fighter, but he resides in Yar. I don't think anything else has happened. I don't have any funny stories to share. Nothing's really happening with me. So I think we've got like 40 people, so I'm not going to bore them with a whole lot of bullshit. Any real life topics I need to cover? Anything like short and sweet and not like a big firestorm I need to say a schizo take about and make people mad? I don't think anything's happening. Nothing's happening. All right.
Oh, so, I heard one thing in real life.
Oh, what is it? What's going on?
I haven't had a chance to confirm it, but I heard there's another short squeeze that started. But
On what?
GME and AMC again. And I was like,
Yeah.
how is that possible? But I'm just telling you now so you can look it up. Carry on.
GME. Hold on. Yeah, it's up. It was like 190, and now it's up to like 200. And so yeah, I mean it's going up. I have a vested interest in physical silver right now. I care a lot about silver. Silver, it hit. It was stuck at 25. It's been going up steadily. It hit 28, dropped back down into 27. Now it's hitting 28 again. All the people on Wall Street silver think that once it hits 30, it's going to go to the moon. So I'm holding on to my coins. Abigor says, I've been riding the steel market hard. How does one buy and sell silver? Fucking me. Steel in real life exactly. What's that like? Like I imagine you're not hauling girders everywhere. Oh, Zig, this might be something interesting for you. Prefontaine, yeah, he pinged you. Why was Yar hit?
Yeah,
I've got 3 main characters. Okay, you want to answer it?
Okay, one, it was actually thought Yar may defend Rose. That was a potential. I'm not sure how much that factored into it. 2, Grumpy wanted a more upper tier targets for more fun in the Blitz. Yes, there's some contribution to that. 3, your sphere wants upper tier domination in the top tier. That's not the goal at all. There's a 4th option, and that's that we thought you've been out of war for way too long, and honestly, we just thought it'd be fun to hit you. It feels like you've sat on the sidelines forever, and like legitimately, SRD's been mentioning multiple times. He was like, "We got to teach Prefontaine the war system, so he knows how these updates are going." You know, that's not entirely a joke. That that factored into it for sure. The biggest thing is just like Yar's been sitting around banking for way too long, and you know, people like Prefontaine, people like Seb, they need to get some war experience. They need to get part of the game that they've been missing for all this time. Does that answer your? You have another account in my sphere fighting in my war. Does that mean you have a multi, Prefontaine? What the heck is that supposed to mean? Should I screenshot that and send it to Alex?
I'm kidding.
Literally report you on that?
Well,
I hope you accept my CB against Yar, though.
Okay. Oh man. Oh, I also wanted to give a theory onto why this war is happening because I thought about it, and I think it goes something like this. Now, this is to some of you, this will probably sound incredibly dumb, and maybe it is, but this is what I probably think happened. I think TKR wanted to hit Rose out of like revenge or maybe anger or something. But they suspected Rose might still have secret allies, so they wanted help. They reached out to Hedge. Hedge's incentive to hit Rose was to avoid being called Rose puppets. So they teamed up together to hit Rose. And I think that was going on. And I think TKR brought Hedge on directly at the beginning because of their whole honorable shtick that they do. And I think that's what's been going on. So that's my theory onto the war. Could be completely wrong, but that's my Alex Jones 200 IQ theory about what's going on there, about why the war even started, and why it's played out the way it has. Real question is, why did Hollywood sign an MVP but first action is unoffensive? Yeah, the optional aggression clauses tend not to matter a whole lot to people. So that's that. Mr. C says, I think they might have merged with Head just because they're uncomfortable not being the largest spear in the game. Maybe wrong. I don't know. I still don't like it. Cindy Sphere broke off, and they've just been sitting pretty, and there's nothing wrong with that. Now, maybe Cindy Sphere will do something in a couple weeks or a couple months, but, there was nothing wrong with TKR and friends, fulfilling the split and then just not doing anything for a little while. That would have been fine. But oh well, it's fine. We are where we are now.
I never got a chance during Morph Show to say my opinion on this. Why I don't think this is such a bad move. Want to hear it?
Okay, what is it?
Sure, let's hear it. I think over the last, especially over the last like 6 months to a year, the conversation around sphere tactics has become meta to the point that it's kind of dumb. Where what people think the meta should be is based on what they think should be fun, and that ends up being all they focus on and not just doing stuff and having fun and enjoying it. I think the real meta thing is to just have movement and just have stuff going on. That's the important part. People are afraid of stagnation, but I mean, right now we're in the most, I would say we're in the most politically active period that I've been a part of. I mean, we've had four spheres split up in the last 2 months, which is pretty much unheard of. And who knows what's going to happen in the next 2 months? Is who's going to make allies? Who's going to break up after this war? Who knows? Maybe Hollywood is going to split off in some way. The real thing that we need is not necessarily microspheres, quote unquote. It's movement.
There is a question that I don't know the answer to, which I think is very relevant, and that is, what would have come next if TKR did complete the split? I mean, what was the next step? Was it to do nothing? Because part of me thinks, at some point they would have to do something, right? Because it's probably better to be proactive than reactive. And the answer to that question perhaps undermines the whole criticism I have in the first place. So I don't know. There's a lot of nuance. Prefontaine wants to be unmuted. I am inclined.
I got you, Prefontaine.
Zig, you made me actually fucking set up my mic. How are you advocating movement when Grumpy is one of the most stagnant treaty alliances in the game?
Aside from Guardian, I'm not sure what you mean.
You've been on the same political side the entire time. You guys have never really moved. This sudden movement with TKR aside, but your whole existence, you've been on the same side, Guardian side of every war. You can say you're attached to Guardian's hip, but you're in that same political sphere. You guys have never moved.
Well, yeah, I mean, GG is a unit for a good reason. But
you're saying what we need is movement, and you guys don't move.
People have moved around us. And it doesn't necessarily have to be treaty movement. I mean, treaty and war movement, and there's all sorts of different things that can go on. But the important thing is that we don't all sit in a nap for 6 months, right? that's when the game gets really boring. Is when everyone sits in a nap. And there's no treaties that are being made. There's no drama. The only drama, I think one of the more boring parts of the game's history, in recent memory at least, was when we had that 4-month nap that was just completely unnecessary. And the only thing that happened was Oasis was trying to set up, I guess, right? But realistically, we could have moved, but there was no incentive to, because we were all sitting there in a nap and couldn't do anything militarily.
The biggest thing people are afraid of in this game is not necessarily like a hegemony-sized alliance. It's a great upper tier consolidation, which is embodied by Grumpy alone, combined with Guardian, who less so now, but overall has a fairly strong upper tier presence. And if you want to look at the balance down, including Rose, people always lump Yar into there, and Yar is not a fighting element of Rose, unless, like in this war, you forced us to be. So that upper tier consolidation is ultimately what people fear. They look at that more of a boogeyman than you having 40% of the game allied to you. If you have, 50+% of the nations above 35 cities, they're going to view you as that boogeyman, and that's kind of where you've put yourself in that position.
Yeah, and that's the funny part, and that's the thing that we've been having a lot of fun conversing about recently, but also for a long time, really. People always consider us the big boogeyman, and in particular, that's because GG targets the leaders, right? The leaders are all in the same tier as Grumpy Guardian, but realistically, our sphere has been able to lose a lot of wars. Like we as a block can and probably will lose, even though we have this upper tier consolidation.
And
all you need to do is not
that way. The game's like you're talking to the guy who was the first upper tier consolidation that the game united against. It's very easy to take a top heavy group down if they don't have enough numbers supporting from below, because harpooning is the end all be all.
Yeah. So I think there will be a constant conversation of what can we do with the GG menace, the boogeyman. I don't have a good answer for that, other than get good. Like that's basically Grumpy's current MO is get good, grow up, and get some cities.
It's always gonna be that way. From as long as there's a remote CN presence here, especially in the leadership, that's gonna perpetuate because of Doombird, Doom Cave. I mean, you even get references to that with Yar, and we're clearly not anyway offensive, but people still look at that and go, "Oh, they're only that size, and we're even a fraction of what you guys are."
Yeah, and because people look at the total score instead of looking at what really matters, which is the tiering and stuff like that. I mean, that's the whole thing that got NPO really good, was the tiering and being able to win where they were good. I actually saw a graph, and I'm gonna struggle to find it now, but there was this absolutely phenomenal graph that shows what was it? How many cities are capable of attacking a certain score range? And I think it's probably one of the best visualizations of that. Here we go. These kinds of graphs, I think, are way more representative of what most people actually see in the game. But it's only that very top end that people actually seem to care about when it comes to the discussions there. Realistically, like that middle section, that's the section that we should really cater to if you're going to think about it from a game perspective. Those are the guys who are going to win and lose wars, and who are going to have the most fun, and who are going to grow into the grumpies.
Yeah, that's why in test I always operated about like 8 cities below where the tippy top was, because that's where all the work happened. The work happens, a quarter way below the top.
And even lower now, because of how much the game has grown recently. I don't know if you can speak to how much it's grown, but everyone seems to have a sense that it's grown like crazy ever since the app came out.
Yeah, there's actually I don't know how much I'm privy to talk about. A lot of things going behind the scenes to improve user functionality and accessibility and advertising and all that. One of the things that has improved is revenue into the game, and I don't want people to think that that's lining Alex's pockets. He's investing it in advertisement, and he's actually been focusing on what's working rather than what people believe is working. And so, with that experience over the last year or so of advertising and what is actually paying off, there's been more influx from that.
And it's clearly paying off. But all that just means is that like a large amount of the people are joining within the last year, basically.
Yeah, the question is going to be if they stick around for a substantial period of time, and I view that as basically a year. You know, if they actually are here a year later, and if they become invested in the community is the big thing, because we all know that these games are actual garbage to play. It's all about the interpersonal actions. 90% of the time.
Yeah, definitely. There's certainly not the most riveting game most of the time. I'm a little curious. While we're on the topic, I'm a little curious to see how many people that were playing during lockdown, as soon as lockdown lifts, if they're going to keep going or not. I'm curious to see if we're going to get a dip.
I'm just hoping to get beige long enough to go camping next week.
Give us some dates and we'll make sure it happens.
I've already been talking to your people. It's fine. It should be good. I might have like 1 or 2 days of just getting there. My teeth kicked in, but it'll be fine. Not gonna vacation mode for like 2 days. Have to sit out for 2 weeks.
All right, so I think I'm ready to go ahead and move the show on and talk about this business drama. Pre can actually remain unmuted just because he might have something interesting to say about this. But go ahead and unmute Abigor and let's get into what's been happening.
Actually, kind of curious, how much does Prefontaine have on the whole swing situation?
I'm sorry, what now?
Swing getting basically decimated. I know they banked with Yar quite a decent, so I was kind of curious if you have much sight on that.
We don't invest any of our money into other banks. They might invest their money into us. So,
Yes.
To my knowledge, nothing was lost. But again, I don't keep an eye on the bank. I keep myself very separated from all things that happen in game. I don't try to push any politics. I don't try to, keep an eye on what Yar is doing, just to keep myself separated from the dev world and the player base.
So,
I just observe, comment occasionally, and have a little fun with it. Talk to my old friends. I don't really get involved with the nitty gritty anymore, just because it is not going to stop the accusations of bias and all that sort of stuff.
yeah,
But
trust me, I understand that one.
I do what I can.
So to catch everyone up to what happened, Swing was stupid and let somebody have access to their offshore, had about 9-10 bills stolen from them, and then the owner of Swing overreacted and burned a bunch of Discord servers, causing about a net loss of 10 to 15 bill from lost loans, shares, and things like that got decimated across the board.
The amount that's posted.
Yeah, that was what was in the offshore itself. That was the initial of what happened. The big part, though, that was mostly just Swing's money, so that wasn't a huge issue. The big problem was Swing then deleting all the servers and us realizing just how integrated every business was in with Swing.
Yeah, the problem with
How did
player-controlled shit is greed sets in at some point, and
Yes.
chaos and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's let her put it. It's
How
anywhere
does
from that 20 to
the
25
Discord-
bill that's been lost. Sorry, what'd you say?
how does the Discord's getting burned like also wipe out a bunch of billions exactly?
The main problem is a lot of money is not liquid in the business world. People have shares that they own. They have loans in and out. There are sheets that are letting people know who owes what money. A lot of that stuff has been burned now, and unless people direct to come forward with any proof, who owns what where is kind of just lost. Which is why it's taken us quite a bit of time to try to figure out how much money is even lost in the first place.
So I thought I saw something today. Okay, this Durage
Oh,
guy,
perfect.
isn't he the
Garage,
who
are
did
you
it?
able to get in the VC and talk about this?
Yeah, he can be unmuted.
Yes.
Let me just say you need spreadsheets, Excel spreadsheets.
Oh, never mind then.
Oh, he's on an airplane. Oh, that's unfortunate. Actually, hey,
That's amazing. You can listen.
Airplane. I mean, you have to pay for it, but airplane Wi-Fi can be pretty decent.
Some of them even
Durash,
give
can
you
you
Wi-Fi
come
free
on my
now.
show Friday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time? He's typing. Sure, mate. Okay, I will have you on then. So
The only
now,
problem with that, Speedy, is that would completely decimate the actual game itself. The game itself should always be prioritized over the business world. As much as we like to abstract and completely turn the game's mechanics on its head, you can't just prioritize business over game.
okay, so Durash seems to be willing to come on Friday, but we're still doing the show tonight, so we'll continue forward. Now, Abigor, didn't this Durash guy? Isn't he the one who did it? Isn't he the one most responsible for wiping out these billions of dollars?
Yes, he is, in fact, but he's been pretty chill about it. We're kind of passive aggressive at each other now. He's pretty relaxed on accepting it.
Okay,
Yeah,
well
he
that's
didn't wipe
fine
the
as long
money.
as
He
you
just
guys get
kind of
along.
overreacted to the money being lost.
So, who was the guy then who was initially responsible for like stealing a bunch of money?
From what I understand, it was Emperor Zerg. I don't know much about him since I kind of stay out of the political side of things, but I know he was working with Swing recently because he had just talked about making a massive investment.
Gotcha. And he deleted, right? He's completely gone.
Zerg? I don't believe he did. No, I think he's still in his own little offshore.
Uh, Zerg recently applied to Grumpy and a number of other alliances, actually.
Yeah,
I
that
got a
sucks.
DM just yesterday, I believe it was.
So,
I don't know
Abigor,
how
what
this
has
guy
been
got it, but
What's up,
Abigor? What
Gunman?
has been done to
Uh,
like fix the situation to resolve?
Businesses
Like,
actually have been. We started a server with all the business owners and investors. Kind of been talking about this. The current plan is to twofold. I don't know if either or both are going to be implemented. First and foremost, we are planning to establish a kind of cross spheres entity to warn people of the risk in individual investments, and then the latter is to set up a centralized banking system that will essentially decentralize where all money is held in offshore. So if something does get turned over, only a portion of that money is lost rather than the whole thing. Yeah, better business bureau and
gotcha.
a reserve system essentially. Yeah, moving
Gotcha.
forward,
Now,
the
has
business
any
sphere is focused on decentralization.
so how well have things went on trying to like recover, like figure out who has what money where, like since yesterday?
Uh, I think most of the shares have been recovered. We're still waiting on a few investors to actually claim their shares, but most of the businesses still had their own individual records, so most of that isn't too big of an issue. There was a few businesses that, for whatever weird reason, were using Swing as an offshore, so there's one or two businesses that straight up had to declare bankruptcy over this whole thing. Yeah, agree with you,
Chat,
Raj. I
are
don't think
any? Gotcha. Chat, have any of you guys lost any money because of this? I haven't, but I don't have money in private business. My only money is in KT Bank and in my asshole.
Lysander,
That's
how
it.
much did you lose? I know Lysander got hit pretty hard by this.
Don't invest in
Didn't
anyone
the
but
stock
Yar.
exchange? Didn't the stock exchange also lose a bunch of cash?
Yes. For whatever reason, I don't understand. The stock exchange had a bunch of it cash on hand for stuff.
Jarash, that was long gone. All right, so it is like.
Oh yeah, the Foundation was the
Huh.
bulk of the loss. The Foundation lost like 6 bill of the amount.
Wait, Foundation. That's is that Krampus's?
Yeah.
Oh, he must have been seething.
I believe he's done
Krampus
with
is going to have to
business
sell
now.
Ron.
Last I heard a rumor that he's getting out of the business sphere.
Well, it's fine because he can
I-
just draw from his membership anyways to build his cities.
Krampus is going to have to sell Ron to pay rent. So,
Can you?
all right.
Oh man, how
Abigor,
much could he buy? He could sell Ron for so much money, probably.
Last I checked, last time
people-
Ron was up for auction, it was evaluated about 2 bill. I believe it would still be probably worth more than that by this point with how
Oh, easily,
provided the new servers are.
easily. They have what, like 1,500 people in that server. Like their reach is insane. I think they charge like 200 mil for a ping, and get it.
Yeah, people would pay billions for Ron. So, yeah, it's Abigor.
You could
Anything
easily
else
sell
you
it
got?
for. I mean, I agree with you, Epi, it's overvalued, but that doesn't change its valuation. If people are willing to pay it, they're willing to pay it. I'm sure if he wanted, he could easily find someone to pay 3 to 4 bill on it.
So, to recap, Zerg got a hold of the offshore for some reason, stole a bunch of cash, and then Jurash freaked out and destroyed a bunch of discords for some reason, which I will talk to him more about on Friday. And a lot of people are out a lot of money.
Yes.
And
as I said,
some
about
work has been
25
done
mil
to
left.
recover. Gotcha. Phew. Well, that's that, I guess. Abigor, anything else you want to add on this topic? Anything else I should ask or cover about it?
I'm sure Daraj has more input than I do, since he was directly involved in it. I don't really want to throw him under the bus too much, so I'll let him more talk on Friday.
Can I ask? Sorry.
Good, Zig.
Yeah, I don't want to get too deep into it because he's agreed to come on Friday. So go on, Zig. Go on.
Oh, I wanted to ask a completely unrelated topic. If you guys are done.
Okay, I will ask one more question, then we can move on. Abigor, do you think there's a potential for a trial to come out of this?
I think we could easily throw a trial if Daraj is willing for it.
Right,
Do you think it's worth it to run a business in Orbis?
I mean, I personally run a business in Orbis. It's the money is well worth the risk. Make more off of a business in like a month than you do off of a major alliance in a year.
All right, so Zig, what did you want to ask?
I wanted to get a follow up from, I don't know, several weeks ago, maybe like a month ago, maybe 6 weeks ago. You came on here talking about how you were gonna had this crazy plan to absolutely disrupt the economy. What happened? I haven't seen a thing.
Hey, Sinister, are you in chat? What happened with that? See, because Sinister hates me for what happened.
Sinister is listening, apparently.
So I put this into effect for literally a day and crashed aluminum to sub 2K by
Okay.
accident, and then on purpose, and held aluminum under 2K for a solid about 3 days before I kind of gave up on the system and I'm currently trying to replan how to work it that won't crash the market. Turns out, when the Orbis market has more liquidity than normal, people start buying up everything that's liquidly available, and the market just goes down.
That sounds about right.
I didn't expect how much people want to just buy stuff when prices are operative.
People, Firewolf just said people greedy. No, they're not greedy. They need war chests. And a lot of people hold out until the prices drop. And then like, hey, I can get a war chest for my entire alliance right now. Let's do this. At everyone, let's buy some aluminum.
Yeah, I'm still set to make absolute billions from it, but it was just it was hilarious, and I didn't want to keep doing it because I didn't want to just completely cause a total crash in the market.
Wait, so we're making billions by selling undervalued aluminum?
I wasn't selling undervalued; the value dropped.
The value itself dropped.
Yes, the market itself fell to sub 2K.
Okay, that's something I don't understand how you managed to do that.
All my system was doing was basically just setting orders on both sides of the buy and sell. Sister, we're talking about how I dropped aluminum below 2K for 3 days, and how you hate me for it. This was right when Sinister was trying to sell off a massive amount of aluminum, so I completely screwed over his trades for a solid week.
And all it took was a large amount of liquidity and just doing a lot of, buy and sell orders?
Yes, I
guess this is another case where I'm kind of confused because I didn't realize anybody used the buy function.
That's actually the problem, is nobody except traders use the buy order side. We quickly learned, especially in aluminum, for whatever reason, it is only traders on the buy side. In fact, if I open it up right now, I'm sure it's a one-sheet list, even right now.
Which side are we talking about? The one where when you click it, you click the buy button?
Or you're selling it to somebody.
Yeah. The seller wanted side?
Yes. That side should be nearly empty still, even today on the aluminum, because
There's
for whatever reason.
11, including several fake ones.
Yeah, if you only count the ones above 2K, there's 9. And then how many of those are double orders by the same people? Not many today, actually. It's more than normal. Only 2 of them are the same people. So there's 8 people currently buying aluminum across the entire game.
8 people buying aluminum that way.
Yes, and that is what holds the market from falling. That one page you're looking at is all it takes to keep aluminum at the 3.5K it's at. If that were to fall, like I accidentally caused it to, the price just plummets. Because
which is strange, because like I honestly didn't know about that page for like solid 3 years of playing this game, and I think I used it once in my life, and I didn't understand the point of it. Because you only need a sell offer to have a functioning economy.
Yeah, what happened was when I started providing liquidity, all of the traders started going off of limit trades off of me, since I'm already providing liquidity to move stuff. And it was literally me and Sister on the buy side for a solid day, and the price just plummeted because of it, because there was no wall to block it.
So it's primarily the traders themselves that are causing the effect.
It's actually the traders that are holding the price up right now. If there were no traders, price on most resources would hard.
So if I were to get a list of the people that are traders, and got the entire community to blockade or not blockade them.
Prices for most things will probably drop the 1 to 2Ks.
I have been considering getting an embargo list and getting a large game-wide action. I've been considering this for like 3 years.
I actually did some math and put to test. There was a reason there was a second drop in aluminum because I would test how many of the traders are holding it up specifically. And I found it only takes 3 major traders being embargoed to drop the price of resources. There are people in this whole game that are keeping prices up.
And I only have 2 of the 3 embargoed right now.
Well, you have Sinister, yes. I do have Sinister embargoed, so one. Who's the other one?
I have about 30 people embargoed, and I was just guessing that I got 2 out of 3 because I haven't looked for a long time. So there was a long time where Tyrion was one of those people, certain. Tyrion was doing trading a lot.
Common enough for him to mark it up himself. He's not one of the 3, but he would help keep it up.
He was probably 2 years ago.
I can agree on that.
This, like I said, my first embargo at Arbitrage is in 2019, so I don't know who's doing it now because I honestly haven't paid attention.
Yeah, soon as I like to Providity while also not collapsing it, I will be set up again. But I don't know how long that's going to take me. I need a little more economics understanding than I have now. Because I detect that's just plump the market.
Well, if you ever get a list and you want a political solution to the trader hegemony, hit me up. We get this thing actually going.
If we just got more people to realize that the site exists, we wouldn't have to worry about trader hegemony.
Yeah, that's hard. That's like an extra click. I click the button that says coal, and it brings up the coal thing, and that's how I make that's how I buy the thing, and then I create an offer to sell. I see the create offer. I don't get menus from.
From sell offers to buy offers.
There's a lot of
chaotic
change to make things more easy to function for new players. I think the big issue we have is the fact that market average price that's listed is incorrect. I would like if the game actually last price agreed upon in a public offer, so the average, like you.
So post one sell offer at like 10 and buy it, and then that posts up.
Quite understand what you're asking on that one.
So you want the most recent buy offer that was agreed upon. So I post something up for 10 price per unit. Someone buys it. Now the shows 10.
The last agreed upon buy or sell on the average, there would have to be somebody on outliers, but like we're even now, I can move the market average by just forcing a bunch of buy and sells on the 10 or so, as people do occasionally. Their average listing, I think, is the biggest issue that's keeping a lot of people out of the market, except for traders, is because like the average prices are not correct. And I don't immediately know how you fix that, but that definitely would be the big issue that's keeping a lot of people, except for traders, out of it.
I think just more and better like graphs and metrics.
You cannot see what the last couple of trades are. It'd be nice to be able to see what last trades were agreed upon. Like actual a median and mean price would be nice. Volume would be nice to be able to see. We have none of that. We just have lists of buy and sell orders, and those aren't correct because the game only allows merchant trading. These orders can't even be completed because they're not in Nation's bank.
So it sounds like lag.
It's low of its clients. I guess, Lysandra, I do realize I've told everyone how to market. It happens to be very impressive.
If we wait to add more lag, Alex will find it. Don't you worry.
Oh goodness! This war has really shown how much it has grown to be. I thought it was at 4, and now it's like every turn is a.
Hey, I mean, your guys for the most part have been very lax about coordinating against me. So I can team after them every time.
It's like 4 or 5 minutes before turn, you can finally build military, and it's kind of ridiculous. Never had that.
And the amount to rebuild it would basically be like, why not just make them?
Yeah.
So it's a whole lot of fixes and fixing the major problems along the way. I don't know how much increasing server capacity is even a solution. It doesn't matter if you have more computers running really bad code; it's still really bad code. Improvements have been made, but it's going to be what it is for some time.
Yeah, if you Zig want to crash the aluminum market, just keep buying aluminum. It's going to eventually go back up to 4K at some point in the lifespan. So the more aluminum you buy right now, the more money you'll make.
The more I buy,
until it hits 4K.
It's currently at 3997.
No, that's the wrong side. You want to look on the other side of the market.
That would be selling then.
No, you're buying.
But the button I click is sell. Oh, You mean I should post that?
Yes.
Right. Click the button, but should the create offer and find the drop down thing.
The buy side is currently
Where is the
354.
actually a different button? I never clicked that button. I forgot that was this thing.
Call in the geniuses behind Grumpy.
Hey, I'm not a leader of Grumpy. I'm just their mascot. I'm just the guy that likes to come on to show have loud opinions.
The fact that the buy and sell orders are different by almost 500 is ridiculous.
It has always been that way. I've
Yes.
never seen it matched on food. Like,
It shouldn't
that's-
match, but it should still be different.
I have seen it like close on food. Yeah, I mean, you just need to get people to use that functionality. I don't. Aside from changing visuals to start with, I don't know how you would ever do that.
Polaris base screen, you actually switch to the sell screen. Markets would probably just skyrocket in price because everyone would use that one instead.
What I can tell you is a possible change is posting both defaultly, but have them different colored, so you can see very easily where the sells and buys are.
If Alex could somehow show more without color, I would hard simp for Alex. I don't care.
So what you need to do is you need to go to the game forums and the game discussion and put out what you think.
I talked about it with Alex.
Well, you're not talking to the right person.
I
You now
know.
are talking to the right person.
Honestly, too, like some of the things that you could do to the trade screen, they wouldn't be big changes. They could just be labeled as quality of life. At which point, it's not even Alex that's probably doing it. It's the person that's better at coding.
Yeah.
So the process
90% of the trade is just quality of life, what it's displaying.
the process for updates is things get agreed upon, then it filters through Alex to put together for the coder. I'll try to, no offense, ask him process for a lot of that so he can focus on the other app because he's bad at it. So if that process gets streamlined, which is the hope over the summer, then theoretically updates can come a little quicker. Quality of life ones go the quickest for this, for the most part. The one that I just made a post about today with new permissions for alliance leaders has been asked for years. That one will take a little bit of time and effort, but small things like adding more graphs can theoretically reasonably quick.
If anyone has ever played EVE Online, the trade tools and graphs in that is ideal for what any game should ever have.
All right.
It's a nerd game. Come on. I think we are.
Prefontaine. Why was the forums down for like 20 minutes when the war started?
I don't even. I didn't know the forums were down.
I imagine like they got or something. Are they
Probably like
servers?
I saw one of the war thread. They are on different servers. The forums can crash and the game can still be up, and the game can crash and the forums can still be up. But I remember somewhere like an hour into the war, I think the main announcement thread had something like 100 people looking at it. So the traffic was definitely way up.
And Abigor is just something about the aluminum market that makes it like particularly vulnerable to crashing.
I've been trying to figure out what is up with the aluminum market that everyone avoids the buy side. That's the big issue, is you're looking at support and resistance. Support is what keeps the market from crashing, and that is really easy to see by just going to the buy orders and seeing how many there are. Aluminum, for whatever weird reason, this past year, and I don't know why it's so.
I can tell you why. Because the change where tanks made people not want to rebuild planes ever when they fell behind. So the volume, the frequency plummeted. So people, they make stagnant supply, no real sink for it. It's changing a little currently with the nerf to tank-killing planes and the buff planes.
But that's aluminum itself, and if any whale were to hang on by a thread and price. The fact that I know people with enough aluminum that they could drop down to the $1 price right now shows just how volatile aluminum is hanging on by.
How much would you need for that?
You're looking at less than
Crashing with an idea adding to go over. Abigor Prefontaine has any questions for them. Also, when it comes to game stuff or real life stuff, if you want my hot take on it, also put in chat. But otherwise, I'm about ready to close the show for tonight. We will topics. I don't think there's much else to talk about. Prefontaine.
I got one thing for you, Thalmor. Earlier, Zig said something. He said he comes here and has loud opinions. I think you would break your show listener record if you got James on Friday. You want loud opinions.
Wilson?
James
That's an easy thing
But
to do.
right now, I'm going to get him right now and have someone controversial to talk to.
Yeah, it'd be kind of like the.
might be that Friday, actually. So that's Abigor. Anything else to say?
Nope, I'm good.
All right. Well, I think that's Zach. What about you? Back of your mind, you've been holding tongue. What is it?
Guilty.
I gotta save my stuff. We're doing to throw the how to say in a single show. Friday, there's probably gonna be a show up too. Also, the one thing that I can say right now is knowing more makes it really annoying to go on shows and talk about stuff, because it's like I really want to share OPSEC. Like I really wanted to share what was gonna go on between TR and us and Grumpy. And actually, okay, you got me now. So Morf, this is something a lot of people ask me about, and this is a probably different audience. There was a little while ago that I found I'll find that thread. It's gonna take too long. Basically, I posted something to the effect of, oh great, TKR is free, is not aligned anymore. Banana stand, here I come. I'm gonna go to war against the banana stand. That was it was a very maybe heavily veiled allusion to the fact we were about to become allies. And that came to fruition when the banana stand got masked. I get it out because that was the day that we announced it. I don't know if anybody get it out before, but I was doing it. I didn't tell my member. Oh, okay, thank you. I was cracking myself up doing it too. I thought I was the funniest person in the world, and nobody got it.
These are your tech leaks. You don't have to get the rest.
Very good. No, I had real tech. Play on to the Rose Blitz was like that's the real thing. Like, oh man, I knew what's coming. Yeah, that's all I have.
Jeez. Good night. Come on this Friday at 9 for the normal episode. And that's it. Uh-oh. Is the theme
I do not version. Let's go. Someone sing it.
Our radio. Ooh, ooh, ooh. The radio. He's coming at you from the top. Oh no, no, he wants up. Thalmor Radio. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Thalmor Radio.
Thalmor Radio.
Alright, so come on. Uh-oh.
Today.
Oh, Greta cut off. No! Well, that's okay. Women are just like church.
My name's Greta Thunberg. And
No, shut up! Alright, out this Friday at 9 p.m. EST, like usual, we'll do the normal show. You all have a good night. Love you. Bye.
today is Friday.
If anyone have any
Today
game
is
development
Friday.
questions, I'll stick around for a little bit.
And anyone that wants to get unmuted right now, I'll be by.
So you completely forgot that I left. Congrats.
What?
Oh, my, you did.
Yes.
Yep. Who would you just congrats for now?
I'm at store. I thought the show was going to last until
All these people being unmuted in awkward positions.
Uh-oh. There we go.
Ramon somewhere.
I see what I
Thanks. Thanks for the well.
Yeah, dude,
Hey,
I
Musk.
was like, oh,
I
I'm
am-
going to store now. And I'll get to the end.
I'm very pleased with this. Like, it's been my wish list the past 3 years.
Hey,
Like,
exactly.
every 6 months.
It's been on the list for a while. It's finally I finally got him to start focusing on it. So my hope is by the end of this year to have something at least on the test server.
Ooh, I need to implement that more. Bank blockade mechanics, man.
I got
It's really unpopular. It's really unpopular. Like, anytime anyone mentions it, like 4 upvotes and like 400 downvotes, and I say the fuck away from it because I don't want people going. You don't
Yeah,
want to change
man,
it
but
because you're
everyone is mostly like you need something. You need
Honestly,
you
yeah.
don't have money that can.
I agree with Mars a bit. So one way you actually achieve it is you reduce the loot per like, raider or whatever, and then with alliance rolls you can store the bank in the actual alliance. So you don't need an offshore. And then like cap the amount that the bank can hold based on like cities. And boom. You've got,
That's sort of a way to blockade. Basically, make the money to move it.
well, you don't need a blockade then because it can only be capped in alliances that large. So it actually rewards like investing in smaller alliances as well.
It rewards having actual larger alliances.
Like people will
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
break alliances, and you will have go 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean,
No, because
that's
I
not
wouldn't do
that
anything
much.
because because the bank cap would shrink with the size, so you couldn't split up and achieve it.
The what you would probably end up with is block-sized alliances. Is that what you're saying?
Wait,
Where like
no, not
imagine
really.
Hollywood all becomes an alliance just for the bank size.
There would be an issue
No,
with
no,
alliances
so-
that already have a lot of problems. Don't worry,
Okay,
use of them.
What you'd do is you'd say like the cap for a single city or something is 1,000 aluminum, right?
And what
And
happens
if you have two cities, then the alliance cap is 2,000, right? And then anything that's anything put in after that point is either rejected, or a reject.
Oh, so basically,
Yeah, and so you have a hard cap on it, and then if the alliance leaves, the bank size or whatever will shrink accordingly. And you could have split onto like nations or something. But,
Yeah, as long as you could get Alex to code it or somebody to code it, I think that would be a really good fix. Setting it out would be difficult, but I think that's. I mean, if you do it that way, then you have essentially a mass war chest for a single man alliance as well. Which it's got its pluses and minuses, but I think it absolutely strong minuses too.
it would change the game a lot, but maybe good.
it'd be
I mean,
positive
something needs to be done about the bank.
Typically changes that Help Raiders hurt game.
Like I said, the bank blockading because all I know is I play games, but other ideas.
And I don't say I'm not in being honest in that statement. I don't say it to be ironic because all the history of just nerfing raiding.
Yeah, I know it.
But if you try to
No,
focus
this
on
will actually help because you won't have money blocking the game. That's the whole point of raiding. That's like why it doesn't work. Not like raiding in Atlas is fun. Like raiding actual banks would be way more fun. It could be.
Yeah, if every dollar is lootable, that actually helps you so much.
Yeah, a lot more than like
then you have to look at it from a global war perspective, like the fact that you could just keep hounding them down until there's literally nothing left in them, and they're not coming back. And
that would be pretty bad. So
when you look at it from how raiding, you benefit raiding, but now it's like you can just completely bill lock someone out of the fucking game, basically.
yeah, and even raiders would be fun because you wouldn't be able to keep your money. Basically, you have to constantly invest it.
So
I'm actually okay with that to a certain degree
bad.
because the ability to do that and the actual doing that are two different things. It's a social game, and having the ability to do that means you can. But I think we're at the point, at least right now, where if you were to do that, you would become the one that would be locked out of the game. Like I would hope so, anyways.
But in that same vein, you want them doing it. You want to be better than that. Just like with NP of the side trying to push everyone out of the game, you don't want to be pushing them out of the game in a good degree.
Yeah.
It probably has better numbers. You know how much money is basically used in the game, like a percentage.
I don't have any of those figures on this.
It's a lot, probably, right? Like it's more circulation than what's spent. And
There's a shit ton of money that just never gets used. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I was laughing at that last guy. That's a secret the aluminium market. Like,
I think that money is most likely in Grumpy and Yar.
it's most likely in all the
That's not true.
alliances.
Grumpy doesn't actually hold a lot of money because
Yar does.
oddly enough, Grumpy buys cities all the time.
Yeah, there's like top 40, 50 alliances that probably have more money than.
So there was a point during the last time that Yar had at least like 8% to 20% of like every resource in the game, like all of the total amount in the entire fucking game.
Most of the money, like I'd say maybe 78% of the money in the game stays there.
Wait, the show's over?
Yeah, you missed it by about 10, 15 minutes.
Alright.
The end of it. But you're still Friday.
Damn you.
You missed all the leaks.
Yeah, there's some pretty big leaks. Everyone here is ready to not anywhere else.
Zig told the best story.
You know what I think?
We saw soccer.
That's a guy that.
Or Dr. What?
You talking about me? This is free.
Yeah, your voice sounds a lot softer and you also
I'm
sound...
speaking Japanese.
I'm sitting very far away from my mic compared to normal.
Yeah, your voice is way softer. What happened?
I never really got to know it.
It's like hope and optimism restored.
Because I haven't been bullied on the forums in the session area too hard lately. I'm suddenly feeling the will to live again.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it still sounds like you, but just a lot later.
How about now? There you go.
Was my story really that bad?
Not just good.
I know. I was telling stories is I'm really self-conscious about. I'm very bad at telling stories. And I'm aware of that.
The worst moment when you're trying to tell a story in like a dinner party with like a bunch around, and you suddenly halfway through realize no one's laughing at, no one's enjoying the story. How do I suddenly make this funny? Shit.
Thalmor literally yawns.
We still love you, Ziggy.
On the internet, you just say you can just act during the story.
Scaring people away with the background noise.
Who's gonna be his boss?
I don't think that's Mars.
That's Mars.
Yeah, Mars is the best part of the entire game. Somehow they get past all of these bot checks. Either that or they don't get bot checks because
What's going on, everyone?
Hola, guys.
Hola.
we have some new virtues in the chat. Please help us, please.
Hey, what up, Mars?
Wait.
So the rules for Alliance Leaders thread, the guy who was really excited about. Is there anything from my list that needs to be added for?
He's nuts.
I can't think of it. There's a really good list a while ago, made by Raw, and the last one that Polaris made.
I have Raw on Ignore, so.
Okay, well, check the Polaris. There was a bunch of discussion now.